The MDI Dragonflight Season 1 has begun with the new seasonal affix Thundering. My name is Naguura, and I will be going over the highlights of Group A's winning team strategy in Azure Vault. But before we go into Echo's dungeon run, let's take a look at their group comp. The tank is a Dwarf Protection Warrior, with a lot of survivability, damage output, and Battle Shout. For healing, they chose to put Zalia on a Preservation Evoker, providing a lot of strong healing cooldowns and very useful utility, especially for the Sanguine affix present in this dungeon. As for the damage dealers, they decided to go with an Unholy Death Knight as their main AoE damage source for their MDI style pulls. Additionally, they went with a Feral Druid, also providing a lot of AoE damage, while keeping up great priority target damage as well, on top of buffing everyone with Mark of the Wild. And lastly, a Shadow Priest, with a very versatile damage profile and bolstering the Unholy DK's damage even further with Power Infusion. This comp is also great for off-healing, with Feral's Nature's Vigil and the Shadow Priest's Vampiric Embrace. Echo dealt with a lot of the enemy forces required in this dungeon in only 7 overall trash pools, containing 100 total mobs. Let's break down some of their pools. As they move in, Now pulls the left and the right Lasher pack, and everyone moves around the corner line of sighting their casts to make sure they all gather up. Additionally, they also pull an Arcane Tender and 2 more Lasher packs inside, for a total of 13 Lashers and 1 Arcane Tender, adding up to 17.8% enemy forces. Some initial casts are not interrupted, but they use Dwarf Racials and Master Spell to remove the debuffs from the group. As soon as they are stacked up with the help of the DK's Abomination Limb, Zalia uses Oppressive Roar into Deep Breath combo for a long AoE stun, and Now uses Disrupting Shout to make sure no casts go through. The Arcane Tender almost doubles the HP of the Lashers in this pool, but because everyone uses their priority target damage on the Tender, it dies just as all the Lashers die too. On top of just being very efficient, they also don't have to worry about Sanguine this way. Before they jump down to the first boss's platform, Now attacks the last remaining Lasher and Tender packs upstairs, snaps them down, and also gathers up 2 out of the 3 required mobs to spawn the boss. In the meantime, Zalia uses Evoker's mobility to tech the far side pack. As soon as Lamor is attackable, they pull the boss and use Bloodlust and all offensive CDs. They had saved Lust for the boss because the first pull of the dungeon wouldn't give them full uptime. Once Lamor is low HP, they drag him towards the exit and get ready to move on. While the rest of the group tags Whelplings and lets them cast Shriek to summon the Fury pack, Zalia moves forward to engage 2 extra elementals to add to the pool. They use a variety of disrupts to stop the Furies from casting Piercing Shards. First some single target stuns from Now, with Shield Charge and Stormbolt. Then they follow it up with AoE disrupts like Inca Roar, Blinding Sleet, Deep Breath, Intimidating Shout, and Psychic Scream. At the end of the pool, they switch to knocks like Typhoon, Wing Buffet, and DK Grips to make sure the mobs don't heal from Sanguine pools. Now they move on to the middle ring area, pulling the left pack with a patrol. They don't have many offensive cooldowns available here, but they make sure to mark all of the elementals for their pre-assigned interrupt rotations on the Waking Bane cast, to make sure no one gets put asleep. While Miras is responsible to interrupt the icy bindings from the Keeper. Now starts cutting the pack at the end of the pool, playing around the Sanguine affix. Now they jump down to the next platform. To reduce fall damage, Zalia uses Glide, Now leaps into the pack, Gingy uses Cat Form Wild Charge, and Clicks levitates himself while gripping Miras to safety. Only Gingy uses his cooldowns on this pool, while everyone else saves their CDs for the next big pool coming up. They now move to Azure Blade and gather up every trash pack in this area except 1. While Now gathers up 6 guards, 2 keepers, and the lieutenant, Miras uses Chains of Ice and grips on the attendants to delay their arrival into the pool. The attendants have a lot less HP than the rest of the mobs. That's why they don't want them to be in initially, so they don't drop Sanguine pools early, healing the higher HP mobs. There's a lot of damage on Now as well, so he had to make sure to have all of his offensive CDs ready going into this pool. He uses 2 charges of Shield Wall, Spell Block, Last Stand, and Zalia's Time Dilation to stay alive. Additionally, Clix is using Master Spell and Single Purges to remove Brilliant Scales off of the mobs, reducing their magic damage taken by 30%. This is important because Unholy Decay is mainly doing magic damage on top of Clix and Zalia's damage as well. They pull the last pack on top of the boss, finishing off the 2 attendants quickly to make sure the Sanguine Pool spawn outside. They keep the Keeper alive throughout the first intermission phase, while Now is tanking the Keeper, interrupting the icy bindings. The rest of the team is focusing the illusions. Gingy and Miris are on opposite sides, making sure they maximize their dot and bleed damage, while Clix is damaging all of them. To make sure they can skip the second intermission, Now pulls the boss to the side to increase the boss's travel time to the middle of the room. Next up is a huge frog pool. They skip the initial breaker with Mind Soothe, then Now picks up all of the frogs and the looters and walks downstairs, while the rest of the team makes sure to not do any damage or healing to not get aggro preemptively. Once downstairs, Now grabs the rest of the mobs for a total of 2 breakers, 10 frogs, and 14 looters. They focus down one of the breakers as soon as possible to stop the Devil Roars and Shoulder Slam combos, because they can easily one-shot a player. Additionally, they will position themselves in the tank's path to make sure the frogs jump forward instead of jumping backwards into a possible Sanguine Pool. Now they are done with their enemy forces. They skip the last 2 breakers with Mind Soothe and finish off the last 2 bosses for their record clear of 18 minutes and 39 seconds. Of course, these strategies are incredibly risky and so well executed, so huge shout out to Echo for pulling off the victory this weekend. Amazing job. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of this run, and if you did, make sure to tune in to the MDI this weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and we'll see you in Azeroth.